And so if you want to keep writing me saying, Coach Greg, you were wrong, look at the WHO is exposing you. You were telling us all along that it's safe. Well, do you feel safe now? Coach Greg, in today's video, the WHO, the World Health Organization, well, they've recently decided to put aspartame on the list of possible carcinogens. World Health Organization to declare aspartame, the sweetener in Diet Coke, a possible carcinogen. Coach Greg, you've been stating for years that aspartame, it's safe, that you can consume it, that you don't need to worry. And so did you make a mistake, Coach Greg? Of course I didn't. You actually think the WHO knows anything about what they're talking about? But let's go with it. Let's assume that the WHO is actually right. And so I had an open mind when I first saw this. I thought, well, I better investigate this. I better make sure that I didn't BS my audience for all of these years. And remember, I've been studying this for decades. Decades. And could aspartame possibly cause cancer? Well, from the research I did, the information I gathered, the answer was yes. If you consumed it in ridiculously high portions, for example, approximately 50 cans of Diet Coke a day for over 20 years, then maybe, possibly, it could be a problem. And so raise your hand if you think you could consume 50 cans of Coke every day for decades. Remember, 50 cans. Not sips, 50 cans a day. And so in the real world, I do believe it's impossible to consume so much aspartame that you could possibly develop cancer. I don't care how much you're using it, how much you're drinking it, how many artificial sweeteners you're consuming. It, to me, is not a problem whatsoever. And so the WHO, perhaps they've been hanging around in Whoville for too long. They befriended the Grinch and now they're putting aspartame on the naughty list. But let's go with it. I'm going to read what they've stated. And by the end of the video, you're going to say, Coach Greg, of course you were right. Why did we ever doubt you? Aspartame is one of the world's most popular artificial sweeteners found in many popular drinks, desserts, cereals, and more. The cancer research arm of the WHO labeling the popular sweetener as possible carcinogen could shake the food and beverage industry completely. The organization will be following up with an update on aspartame's risks, the acceptable daily intake, and dietary exposure. Would this stop you from drinking Diet Coke or not? And so for me, this is fear-mongering. They know which things they can list out that are going to have a dramatic effect, that are going to make the headlines, and which will not. And so they deliberately choose aspartame to publish in social media because they know that's going to get the clicks, the likes, the attention that they're looking for. Aspartame, one of the world's most common artificial sweeteners, is set to be declared a possible carcinogen next month. Before this was announced, Congress member Zoe Lofgren dumped her Coke stock. How did she know? How did she know what? Explain. Could you explain it to me? Because Coca-Cola stocks have not gone down. And so are you trying to convince me there's some conspiracy that before this was announced that all the political leaders, they find out, oh, let's dump all the stocks before the stocks crash? The stock went up. It went up. It didn't go down. You really think it's going to affect the price of the stock market? Well, if enough fear-mongering goes on, enough BS is stated, then yeah, it could. But how dangerous is aspartame really in comparison to other things? Okay, BBC. Aspartame. What else is possibly carcinogenic? And remember, carcinogenic just means it could potentially cause cancer. Aspartame is expected to join aloe vera and bracken ferns on the World Health Organization's list as a possible human carcinogen. But did you know that? And so are you out there throwing all your aloe vera in the garbage? Are you that concerned? And so there are actually 94 items on the inventory. It's not just aspartame. There are 94 different items as possibly being carcinogenic. That doesn't mean it is. Doesn't mean they have proof. It means maybe. We're not sure, but we felt like adding it to the list. Aspartame can be found in around 6,000 food products globally, and industry bodies have criticized the new categorization as misleading and confusing. In the past, similar moves have led to lawsuits. And wait to see what you're consuming right now. That's right, you're consuming it right now. That's more dangerous than aspartame. And so there are 4 main categories, and group 3, not classifiable as to its carcinogenic to humans. Group 2B, this is the next one on the list, and that's what aspartame and aloe vera is going to be added to, as well as magnetic fields, you know, the ones in your cell phones that you're using right now. Well, they're being added to group 2B. And so if you stop drinking Diet Coke because of this, well, you're throwing your aloe vera in the garbage, and you sure as shit are going to get rid of your cell phone. And so raise your hand right now. How many of you are throwing out your cell phone because potential risk of cancer from the magnetic field? Are you really? And remember, this is group 2B. Wait to hear what's in group 2A. You know, things that are actually more dangerous. And so let's get into that right now. Red meat. And so if you don't drink Diet Coke, but you consume red meat, well, you're far more intelligent if you stop consuming red meat than stopping to consume Diet Coke. Red meat, far more dangerous, far more likely to cause cancer than aspartame ever will. And so unless you're going vegan, you sure as shit can continue to drink your Diet Coke. Working overnight. I'm not making this shit up. It literally says working overnight. And so any of you nurses out there, any of you doing the graveyard shift, anyone working at night, late at night, staying up past midnight, y'all have more risk of developing cancer from that than from drinking Diet Coke. Are you starting to get it now? Breathing the air outside. You ever think of that? Outdoor air pollutions? And so if you're concerned with not getting cancer, you have to become the bubble boy. Well, 2023, the bubble boy, girl, circle, whatever. You can't eat meat, so clearly you're vegan. You can't go outside to breathe the air, and you can't work late at night. And while you're at it, you can't use your cell phone, and forget rubbing on that aloe vera. Too dangerous, right? And we're only at group 2A. There's far worse. And so group 1, carcinogenic to humans. As in this, we have proof. We know this to be dangerous. Alcohol. And so if any of you ever drink any alcohol at all, I don't care what quantity, way more dangerous, not a little bit, not maybe, way more dangerous than Diet Coke. So if you drank one beer, one sip of red wine, you've had one light beer, more carcinogenic than drinking Diet Coke. And so if you want to keep writing me saying, Coach Greg, you were wrong, look at the WHO is exposing you. You were telling us all along that it's safe. Well, do you feel safe now? Do you now understand how things can get blown up out of proportion? They report a story, oh my goodness, aspartame, Diet Coke, the stock market's gonna crash. The world is a dangerous place. But one thing that I'm not concerned about, my freaking Diet Coke. For it to be classified into group 2B, you have to have limited evidence in humans and sufficient evidence in animals. So perhaps a little bit more evidence in animals. And you're thinking, well, if it happened in animals, maybe it could happen in humans. But remember, at what dose? At what dose? If you consume enough of anything, it could perhaps be dangerous. Do you think that drinking purified water is safe? I think it's pretty safe. But what if you drink 20 liters a day? Could that not cause an electrolyte balance where you could in fact die? Yes, it could. The WHO guidelines do not quantify the risk of any group 2B substances, nor do they recommend limits for your exposure. And so perhaps it could cause cancer. But you need to consume 20 times the amount that any human being would ever consume for it to possibly have that effect. And so is it actually dangerous? Well, maybe if you consume 20 times more than the average human. But is anyone doing this? No. And so is it really dangerous? I don't think so. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the acceptable recommended intake for aspartame is up to 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight each day. And so seeing as I'm close to 90 kilograms, that's well over 4,000 milligrams of aspartame a day. This is equivalent to 19 standardized cans of Diet Coke for the average female in the United States. Remember, I'm a male, I'm larger. I could consume way more than 19 cans. 19 cans of Diet Coke a day. That is a lot. And so what do I say to the WHO saying aspartame's on the naughty list? There you have it. I hope you understand that when you first see an article, they oftentimes try to over-sensationalize it. They try to use fear-mongering, scare tactics to get you to watch their stories. It's not just YouTubers who want to get the clicks and the likes and the attention. It's also news channels. And so when you post something, wow, cancer, oh my goodness, Diet Coke, it gets headlines. In comparison, if they had said, hey, the WHO is going to add this as a possible carcinogen, but if you're Coach Greg, you need 33 cans a day for 20 straight years to have a problem, and it's no more dangerous than using your cell phone or aloe vera, I don't think it would have the same effect. And so why do they do this? Why do you think? And so the next time you're debating reaching for a Diet Coke versus regular, remember, Diet Coke has about 5 calories instead of 150. And if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight, while if you're in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. It's all about calories in, calories out. And based on the studies, based on the research, those who consume non-nutritive sweetened beverages, aka Diet Coke, in comparison to water, they lose more weight, are more satiated, and over the long term, they keep more of the weight they lose off. And so who in the end is the winner? Diet Coke. If you're concerned with your health, looking for the #1 supplement in the world with no known negative side effects, look no further than GO2 Max, the main ingredient, NMN, as shown in the Joe Rogan podcast featuring Andrew Huberman and others, have a dramatic effect on your cardio, on your energy. Double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies show that this makes a significant improvement in the walking test scores. How fast and far you can walk in a given period of time. And it's not just in couch potatoes. In groups of runners taking NMN versus placebo, well, they run significantly faster. And best of all, it's not banned by WADA. You can use it in drug-tested sporting competitions such as the Olympics. And so if you're looking for an advantage over your opponents, also potentially help you to live longer with no negative side effects, then look no further than GO2 Max. By far, the #1 supplement I recommend over everything. This includes creatine. This is the one you want. Code Greg, 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, like the video if you liked it. Did it actually benefit you? Did you learn something? If it did, give me a like. Add a comment. Also, don't forget to watch the bloops. And of course, Cookbook 3.0, brand new in stock. Head over to my website. Training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the Circle Diet book, the Harder Than Last Time clothing line, everything. And if you have no money, it's okay. Free diet and training program, close to 50 pages. Head over there right now. First name, last name, email address, and you got it all to yourself. It's free. Be proactive, 150 minutes of cardio a week, eat healthy, and until next time, I am out.